My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And for all you Americans out there, it's Thanksgiving soon? This week? Next week? Sometime?
This week.
Thanksgiving. Like, time is really meaningless these days.
I actually legitimately don't know, as the American on the group in the call. I don't know.
Well, it depends on. Okay, we're recording on a certain day.
That's true.
When this episode will be coming out, it will be the following Thursday. It's always on a Thursday. Don't know why it's always on a Thursday, but doggone it, it's always on a Thursday.
Black Friday.
Because you have to go shopping on Friday.
It's interesting because in Canada, Thanksgiving's on a Monday.
Is it always on a Monday? Like no matter.
Always on a Monday. Yeah.
What, the
So you
second?
get a long weekend.
Now,
Yeah, like the second Monday of October.
historically speaking, like, okay, now it's always on the third Thursday of November. But historically speaking, it would flip. It used to move a little bit more. It would always be a Thursday, but it used to move weeks.
Oh.
Just to, keep you guessing, you know?
Well,
you never know when you're going to end up.
When I say I specifically remember, I was not alive then, but there's a movie. There's an old movie that it shows Holiday Inn. It shows the calendar for each holiday. And I think it was that year during the movie where they it showed the turkey trying to decide which week to be on. And then he just gave up and stayed on one week. It was funny. So that's why I always remember that.
I mean, you shouldn't be really doing anything anyways for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, I saw there was like a headline where there was like, I forget who, but he was like, works with the CDC. And he says, well, if you're planning on big Thanksgivings, I hope you're also planning on small Christmas funerals. I was like, woo!
I mean,
Yeah.
not wrong.
You ain't wrong.
It's not even a good holiday. Like, come on. It's a crappy, legitimately, it's a terrible holiday that we should not be, like, celebrating.
Yes.
Like,
from a historical standpoint, no. But isn't it, like, one of the most popular holidays in the States or something?
Definitely historically, bad. I'm not talking on that front. But for some people, I would think, because I was discussing this with my family earlier today, I always think of Thanksgiving, like when you think of it as the warm, fuzzy family crud, it should be essentially like, I'm happy that we're all able to gather and that we're in good health. Like,
yeah,
enjoy this moment in time that we're able to share time together. To me, that's what family holidays in general are supposed to be. Right?
Yeah.
So, but it should pretty much, and I even said, even if it wasn't pandemic, the weird thing about holidays that's happened is, this is going to be Sky's like soapbox about holidays. Family holidays. Let's say someone's feeling puny or has the flu, they shouldn't still go to the family holiday.
Yeah,
right?
even in non-COVID years.
Right. And that's the thing. It should be like, in this moment in time, we're all feeling good enough to get together and enjoy each other. Like, that's all it should be. So, but then not everyone, people make it to be like this big tradition thing. But like, we did traditions growing up, but like, I was also very flexible with it. Like, my family was very flexible with that, to where we would always try to subvert things like, this year, let's do burritos, like, because we didn't care. So people need to not be as stringent, especially when we're talking about health. So especially this year, don't go spend time together because maybe next year you can. Like,
yeah,
if you want to spend time tomorrow.
Well, yeah, like you see the people who are using that as the excuse. This could be your last chance. You know, like people could die of COVID, so this could be your last chance to see your parents. So you should see them. We're like, and then they'll die of COVID. That's how you make it happen.
So I grew up in Canada. My dad was Canadian. My mom was from New Jersey, so she's American. So we got 2 Thanksgivings, and Thanksgiving is my least favorite holiday. And the reason that it is my least favorite holiday, it's actually a surprising one. And this was from before I became vegan. I'm allergic to a lot of things. And one of the things I am allergic to is turkey. So...
Yeah, and like the carb train with lots of like gluten too, so.
Yes, so it was like, listen, I got the sweet potatoes, bomb-ass sweet potatoes, and that was it. So it was a bit, it wasn't Thanksgiving. And I love to eat, like, I love to eat. And that was just like denying me any food. And I got to sit there and watch everything be cooked right in front of me and know that I would not be enjoying it.
The worst when you know like you are not going to be able to eat anything and there's a ton of people, or like you have to like be like, oh well, I'm making my entire meal myself because I'm the only one.
Yeah, so I'm the youngest of 11, so there's always tons of people there. And so twice, because we did 2 Thanksgivings. One we would have for family, which was Canadian Thanksgiving, and the other one Mom would invite all of her like friends and stuff and their kids, so then we would have like a second, like a Friendsgiving. But yeah, I just sort of starved both times. But now when I've been older, I just have to cook my own versions of things. So there'll be like the regular food, and then there'll be like small little dishes of just food that I've made, but then people will always steal my food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bitch, you have to get out of my
food. Stop it. It's the worst. But like also like, okay, so I never lived near most of my family, so we never do big things anyways, and so Thanksgiving really never was like any sort of thing. Like, and I feel like now for the most part Thanksgiving isn't a lot, like a lot of people don't do anything unless it's with their friends, because you just don't have money to go to Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah. And so you're going to choose Christmas over Thanksgiving easily if you're going to spend your money on vacation. You also get, depending on your company, more time on vacation-wise for Christmas. Yeah. So you'd always go to like Thanksgiving and then you couldn't eat anything and then you'd bring stuff and then like everybody would eat it and I'm like, come on. And like at this point, I'm like, I'm already making everything anyways and it's already like just me eating it, and I'm going to have to like, it's hard to make things in small batches for the most part. Like make mashed potatoes are okay because you can just do like 1 or 2 potatoes, whatever. Yeah. At that point, I'm just like, I don't even want to talk to any of you, and I could just like keep all of my stuff and have leftovers and just, I mean, I already have to cook dinner on a normal day anyway, so might as well just stay here.
It would just be like me walking into the kitchen, knowing that I spent $8 on vegan butter, and then seeing someone like smearing it on their stuff, and I'm like, you have your own butter.
Come on.
Like, listen, I know I'm a good cook and my food looks delicious, but get out of here.
Oh.
You know how much gluten-free bread costs? Gluten-free bread costs so much money. And if I make a stuffing out of gluten-free bread, get away from it. No.
I mean, that is not to say, like, a lot of, like, the Friendsgivings I go to that actually, I have pretty legit great friends, and, like, for the most part, they'll do almost everything vegan except for, like, main or special things. And so it's, like, really me only bringing, like, my own version of green bean casserole or something like that or the main thing, which can be anything, essentially. But, yeah, Thanksgiving is weird just because it's just not a thing that we care about.
I remember my second job. They kept trying to do potlucks at like during lunchtime around holidays. So I remember, it's like I'm scarred from it. We had to do like potluck Thanksgiving meal at work.
Oh no! Stop
during work
this agenda.
I will say that was the one year we did do, because I have a cool work, so it worked out. We did a Thanksgiving one time, and it was the shop Thanksgiving. We have a warehouse. So we could do, like, they had, like, fried turkey going and smoked turkey going in, like, the parking lot, and, like, everybody brought in stuff. So that was, like, a fun event, I remember, one year.
If you're fun with your coworkers, it usually probably feels better to do that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
There was a lot of animosity amongst us.
This is, like, at that time, especially, like, specifically, you're allowed to, like, sit out on the dock and drink your beer type, like, place.
You're like, that's fun, but I had a very high stress, like, it was a very high stress job, and a lot of people didn't like each other, but then it's like, you're gonna eat Thanksgiving stuff together. It's like, great, that's totally what I want to do right now.
I always remember when I was like in elementary school, they always had like a big Thanksgiving dinner for all the kids, and everyone else got to eat it, and there was old Natalia. Usually I had something like fried rice or something that my mom had made because she only knew how to cook Thai food. So it's just Just me sitting there with my fried rice that everyone already thought I was a weirdo for eating. Oh, rural Canada. Gotta love it.
My family we really like turkey dinners, so we make them all the time. Like, for anything, we'll be like, let's get a turkey, and we'll have a turkey dinner, because why not? It's not that much harder to cook than, like, a meatloaf or something, so, like, whatever. But Thanksgiving weekend, like, we used to when we were little, but ever since we moved here, my dad started working with this, like, the county fair board, and our county fair is on Thanksgiving weekend. Every year. It's always on Thanksgiving weekend. So, like, we're busy. Like, we don't have time to make a dinner. Like, my mom would work there. Like, my dad, we would work the kitchen at the fair, like, and do stuff. So, like, we might have turkey soup from the kitchen, but, like, that was it. And then we might have, like, a turkey dinner another weekend or something. But we just, like, for us, like, Thanksgiving dinner for the last probably 25 years has been, like, poutine and corn dogs. Like, it's, like, kettle corn and cotton candy.
The town where I grew up is the lobster capital of the world. So Thanksgiving wasn't really a big thing, but midsummer, when the lobster festival rolled in, oh boy, that was what made everyone go crazy. There's actually a giant lobster in my hometown that you can climb. Like, it's a massive lobster statue, and you can climb all over it.
It's just one of those things, like, I don't know why, like, towns and cities like to do this with the weirdest thing that they, like, claim as their, like, the claim to fame, and they're like, we have to do the world's weirdest art installation, like, community thing ever. Let's make a big lobster that you can climb on. And you're like,
but it's like, but the
city
thing
planner,
about
why?
it's been there forever, and it's not like, you know how usually when they put these things up, it's sort of like a cartoony version of it. No, it is an anatomically correct demon of the sea. And it's like, it's massive. And then there's like a 6 foot tall, like, fisherman statue that's, like, leaning on it as though it doesn't realize it's a lobster, and the lobster's, like, menacing over him.
It's
and you're
your
just
gargoyle.
Like, and you're just like, wait, is this lobster here for, like, revenge? Like, what is this? No, I've shot wedding photos at the lobster. Oh, the lobster.
The first time maybe the one time, I've traveled to Canada when I was on a road trip growing up, and yeah, there was a place that had, like, the largest Canadian goose, so that was a
no
thing. Yeah.
It's just evil incarnate, just, like, celebrating.
It's too bad they didn't have, like, sounds of it hissing. That would have been honking and hissing.
I just remember when we were on the trip together, and we had the 3 dogs, and we were trying to avoid all of the geese. Oh.
Hey, I didn't want geese getting my fur children.
Yeah, no. We were just like, no,
we get it.
Go this way. Oh, vey. Oy vey.
Oh.
So before we clicked play on the podcast, we're like, are there any games or anything we want to do? So I was like, well, the first thing we should do is we trace our hands.
Take the little turkey.
We'll color it in.
The thing about that, even as a kid, you're never really young enough to think that it never looks like a turkey, ever.
Well, no. But you don't care, because you're like, that's my hand, and we transformed it into what everyone is calling a turkey. And that's magic. My teacher is magic. And then you're like, oh, every teacher knows this.
There's also, like, in the States, the pardoning the turkey thing, and I find that so weird.
It's always weird.
I find that so weird. You're just like, one, that turkey committed no crime except for being born. And basically you're saying, okay, we're not going to murder you to eat your flesh, but we
like,
will
here at the White House, we'll
murdering.
have, like, 80 of them.
Yeah, so, congrats. It's weird. Thanksgiving is weird. Thanksgiving is weird.
And that type of thing just reminds me of, like, and I'll get to the point in a second, but Groundhog's Day, the whole, like, the groundhog thing, well, a year or two ago, poor Puxatawny Phil, or whatever his name is, they picked him up and then they dropped him and then he ended up with injuries and then he died. I'm like,
Oh.
during a press conference, guys. Good job. And yeah, poor Mr. Groundhog. Like, maybe we shouldn't mess with critters.
Yeah, like
as
maybe
we are. Like,
because
let's not.
what is going to actually do? Nothing. This is not how we like determine things. It's 2020.
I'm telling you, that octopus that can predict who's gonna win the World Cup, he knows things.
That was a one-off thing. It doesn't mean all animals can do that.
It's just that one octopus that knows too much.
Specific one.
Lord. Yeah. It's the whole Thanksgiving is a weird holiday. It's a weird holiday to me because it's to celebrate the beginning of a genocide, which is super weird. Like,
I mean, I think, like, if you think of it as a harvest festival, many countries have a harvest festival, right? So, like, it makes sense that we have something celebrating the harvest when we have so many farmers and stuff, but it's the way that we've, like, tied it all into stuff that is problematic and weird.
Yeah. It's like if it was just like,
it was just like, yay, yams.
This winter, we got the corn that we need. Like, I'd be fine with that. Like, yeah, thankful we're gonna live another year.
All the winter produce is cheaper, yay.
Yeah.
Cook it up.
And then it's like, all right, let's dress up like pilgrims and very inaccurate and insensitive depictions of natives and make them perform this bizarre teleplay of something that didn't happen. Like,
maybe in place of that, what should happen, they should make a really good, like, special about Roanoke and how, like, everyone just disappeared. Let's just talk about something like that.
It's already been done perfectly. And that is BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural did the Roanoke colony.
Oh, they really did?
And it is a chef's kiss. They presented many theories involving zombies, aliens, potentially, or maybe they just left and intermarried with the native tribe, which is probably what happened.
No documents.
It's just, because Crow, like the mysterious word Crow don't. That was just the name of the tribe, like 2 islands down.
Well, yeah, that also speaks to the racism of it all and the weirdness of it all. Like,
they could never just want to go intermarry with another group.
Was it BuzzFeed? Or there was, like, I found somewhere where they had, like, that was, like, their basic, like, specific, is that if you look at all this, like, the unsolved mysteries of the world, it always ties back to racism, because it's always, like, the local, like, population that is part of the mysticism of it. So, like, the Native Americans would be the mysticism of it, or, like, ties in a bunch of stuff. I'll have to find that.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
So weird how like that's ingrained in society, even in, like, that sort of thing, where it's
right. It's like when you see, like, people are like, well, there's, pyramids in South America and in Africa and in, and in Asia, and it's like, what does it mean? Aliens? I'm like, no, white people. It means that putting rocks in a pyramid formation means they're not going to fall over easily.
It means that someone other than a white person figured out how to do something, is what it meant. Like, that they're not some weird, like, uneducated, like, group.
Right, especially when it's like, oh, you mean these nations that were either themselves or nations adjacent to nations that were really, really good at math, like, really good at math and algebra, and came up with a ton of that stuff? Of course they came up with pyramids. Oh my god!
They know the area. They've lived there for years and, like, had time to figure this out. Like,
I just like that. Well, how could they have built it? And then it's like there's, like, literal, like, hieroglyphic depictions of how they built it. Like, okay, we put the slab on some
And all
wheels.
the like scientists and stuff are
And
like,
then
la
we
la la la,
rolled
no, that's not it.
No,
Nah,
that can't be possible.
no,
And
that's not
plus,
possible for them.
You could have visited the Library of Alexandria that would have really told you, but no, you had to burn that to the ground. Just saying.
White supremacy isn't everything.
Ay, 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 ay.
So,
Anyway, back to Thanksgiving.
yeah,
I
way
like
to
to call
bring
it
that up.
Friendsgiving because I think that Friendsgiving is the superior form of Thanksgiving because
really
you don't
is.
have any of that awkward political shit that you always get every time you go home. No one's asking you, when are you getting married? When are you having babies? Nothing. They already know the
Taking the
story.
drinks out of your hand too, you can get trashed.
Oh.
Fine.
Ooh.
I read this one today. So my mom grew up in a dry county, and my sister and I grew up in Canada. No part of Canada is a dry county. So we were having a Thanksgiving party at my grandmother's house, and Mom was like, "Oh, I need you to go. We're having all these people are coming over for the party." And my sister Shanta and I were like, "Oh yeah, we'll go. We'll get some beer for everyone. We'll get some wine for the people who like wine." And my mom's looking at me and she's like, "What are you talking about?" And we were like, "'Cause we're having a party." And Mom's like, "No, we don't do that here." And I was like, Shanta, and we're like, "No."
Meanwhile, here in Kentucky, all of our dry counties just will go and actually buy it from another place. That's not stopping them. Also, bourbon capital of the world. Come on, we ain't drinking.
Yeah, my mom lives half the year in Ocean City, New Jersey, which is still a dry county, but there's a bridge because it's one of the little barrier islands. It's right near Atlantic City, and so there's a little bridge that goes from mainland New Jersey over to Ocean City, and in the middle of the bridge is the town line, and right next to it, right on the bridge itself, is a gigantic liquor store.
I love when they do that. Fireworks places do that too.
Yeah.
Right on the border. You're like, why is that? Oh,
yeah.
I get it.
You're traveling and you're like, why is there suddenly 15 fireworks places? And I haven't seen one for 10 miles, but suddenly, bam, cross the state line.
Right. And I think this is just a little aside, unrelated to anything, but while I don't drink beer, my cousin once brought the greatest branded of beer I've ever seen. It was called Hebrews the Chosen Beer. And it was made by a Jewish brewery. And all of the names were the Red Sea, Black Moses. I still it was years ago, and I'm still Hebrews the Chosen Beer.
There's a company that does with Shakespeare, so all of it is puns of Shakespeare lines, and I love those. Craft breweries are great at the naming. They've got that down.
They gotta have something that sets them,
Yeah, exactly. Our local one has just the weirdest names for stuff, and they've got a really nice raspberry wheat called Pinky Brewster, and they
Yeah.
My favorite one is a hibiscus beer. They never have it in anymore, but it's called The Ugliest Parent, and I'm always I feel weird ordering this, but it tastes so good. So what are you gonna do?
Anyway, back to Friendsgiving.
I mean, this year, if people are doing things that should be over video chat or whatever, of various sorts.
And,
the people you're already with.
Yeah.
So many different ways. Twitch just added free watch together for everything on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
so you can stream anything on Amazon Prime on your Twitch stream and watch it with people. There's, go play Among Us, man.
Have some family tournaments. Oh my god, it would be so funny if your whole big extended family got together and had tournaments and you're all in different rooms. Oh, that would be fun.
Listen, you can Minecraft is not that expensive of a game, and you can all play together multiplayer on Minecraft, and it's fun for the whole family. There's options out there that you don't have to be together.
Okay, let's be honest. Out of all the years you want a really good excuse to not have to go to Thanksgiving dinner with your family, this is it. It's there for you. Take it.
Like, listen.
On a silver platter.
It's like, think of your worst conservative homophobic uncle. You don't have to go hang out with him this year.
No. You got it.
No. I mean that. You don't have to go hang out with him this election year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year.
This is the year to not go to Thanksgiving dinner.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Just
just give them the old FaceTime for 5 minutes and get out of there. Like, and do things that you want to do. Like, if you always play, my family's big into board games. There is a way. There is a game on Steam. We're not sponsored. This is just.
But if Steam wants to sponsor us,
if Steam wanted to sponsor us,
we'll become a gaming podcast.
Yeah, we will.
Like,
we will turn on
at
a
this
dime.
point, like, really.
So there's a game on Steam called Tabletop Simulator, whereupon you can play board games in a virtual space, and not just board games. You can play Cards Against Humanity in there. You can put whatever you want. You can play, Catan.
Yeah.
You can play Uno. Uno has an online version. You can, end friendships on Monopoly virtually. You don't need to be in the same.
And you don't have to clean up the board. It's like so easy.
That is nice. And you could, if you want to kick it quasi old school, you could have like a Skype call or something, and everybody has dice. You could play Yahtzee or something. Like, you could all be rolling your own dice.
This is actually our Thanksgiving game of choice is categories. You could play categories easily over Zoom.
Exactly.
You could start a beautiful Dungeons and Dragons campaign like you've never seen. And the best part is over Skype, the GM or the DM, Game Master, Dungeon Master, whatever, he can screen share up maps and shit. You're killing it. Just, have some fun, man.
I'm going to say on a personal note, if you're dealing with family members who are still being dum-dum heads about this type of thing, you have pretty much two options. And, well, you have probably more options than that, as far as, like, maybe not talking to them ever again. But we won't talk about that option in particular, because that's up to you. But
it's a personal choice.
Yeah, that's, you have to figure out your own boundaries with that stuff. Either you can just, like, not deal with it, because we're all dealing with enough crud, but you can attempt to send articles. But once in a while, they might. On a personal note, the people we sent stuff to, I don't even know if they read them, but they, for some reason, changed their mind and decided to not go.
Hey, I am all for just letting go. It doesn't matter if they're your family. I'm not about that, like, promoting, like, really, keeping toxic family. Just move on.
Agreed.
Right.
And it's actually really interesting because every time someone says something like this, someone will bring up blood is thicker than water. But that's not the actual quote. And this is very important because the actual quote is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means the opposite of what they're using it for, which leads directly into the K-drama portion of this podcast, because we are talking about found families that you choose for yourself. Yay!
Yes.
I know it seemed like we weren't gonna go into podcast.
Yeah, we weren't gonna talk anything about what our podcast actually is.
No. We brought it around. Getting sneaky. We're getting sneaky up in here.
No,
we never know how we're gonna bring it in.
We're old now.
That's right. So if you, the listener, have been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you're probably aware that there is one genre. It's not even a genre. One sort of trope, I guess, that we just go feral for. And that is the concept of a found family, which is basically a friend group so tight that they are basically family now.
Yeah. There is no, strings attached. They aren't, actual family members. There's no society, forcing the
Forcing
friendship
them together.
into people.
They choose. Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the family you choose yourself versus the one that you're dealt at the beginning of life. And, there's just something so beautiful and pure about, a chosen family. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much better in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it
Because,
really is.
like, an actual family is sort of a genetic crapshoot. Like, you don't know, you could end up in a real shitty family. Like, I feel pretty lucky because I was adopted into a pretty great family, but had I not been adopted, I know about my birth family, and oh boy, yeah. Woo! Enough said. And, as, we mentioned, the families always have that homophobic conservative uncle who talks about immigrants stealing their gerbs. And you know what? Your family doesn't tend to have that.
If it does, you need to divorce that part.
Yeah, and I think that, like,
Move on.
no matter where you are, there's this, like, societal thing where, like, you are labeled as a bad person for not keeping up with your family just because they're your family. The people are coming together to form this family, and it's not even a societal thing. Like, it's not even like, oh, well, you're brothers, so no matter what, you're gonna have to love each other. No, you're just two random dudes that, like, found each other. Like, it's just nice.
Yeah.
I even like, and maybe this is found family adjacent, but to me, there's even relationships and stories and dramas that I would still consider it a little found family, but it's almost a begrudging thing. Like, it'll be a circumstance kind of brings people together, and they definitely don't like each other very much in the beginning.
That's like a workplace office drama.
Yeah.
And
and you know what? And that's always the best kind. Like, I'm thinking of like a show like Chief Kim, where it's like they all think he's an absolute clown, but like after time goes on, they just become more and more intermeshed and like loving with each other in like a platonic sort of way. Like, even, like the one dude that he's like mortal enemies with at the beginning, like, they're fucking cosplaying as waiters to, like, get fake information by the end of it, and you're just like, what is happening?
Well,
like,
it's that really great thing where it's like, no, I'm the only one who can be upset with this person.
Yes.
And the outsiders come in, no, let's go. I am protecting you all with my life.
Right.
and that's like how, like, a lot of office dramas go. They like, the like, office, like, kind of teams up together, even if they don't hate, like, even if they hate each other, because they're like, no, this is war.
Like, it's like, you can't call him an idiot. Only I can call him an idiot. I'm a power idiot. It's actually really funny because when I was growing up, I have a sister, the one who's closest to me in age, and she was always just so mean to me. Like, she would just say horrible things to me all the time. But if anyone else ever said anything mean to me, she'd be like, how dare you? My sister's the best. I love my sister. You can't talk about her that way. And I'm like, you were just saying, like, way worse than that. Like, it's that dynamic that it's kind of fun to see on screen. Less so to experience sometimes, but fun to see on screen.
Right.
Because, like, enemies to lovers is great, but enemies to friends.
Well, and so I really love that, and then how quite often it's kind of found depending on how many people are involved or, their circumstances that they're given or whatever. Because to me, there's a whole spectrum of found family, really. Like, kind of the platonic friends, but kind of frenemies thing. And to where it is like, we understand each other the best, and they kind of become found family, but they might not, like, always want to hang out with each other necessarily. Yeah. But then you have the people that do become, like, very much like family, to where very loving, very supportive and all that.
Sub genres within the found family genre trope or whatever it is. Like, because there's also, you have like the friendship ones and the office ones, and like the office ones can stem into like a personal fave of mine, which is the crime dramas where the like central like team becomes a found family. it's in most cop dramas actually this happens, or like any sort of crime detective thing. You can see it like in Western TV too, like Criminal Minds has a huge, strong found family type dynamic with that. But then you also have like the town folk found family, like when the weather is nice. That like sort of like where it's everyone's together, but they're all like unified because this is their town that they live in.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of almost like Gilmore Girls. You know, that town. You know,
I love Gilmore Girls. It's like even a show that wasn't that great, like 100 Days My Prince. The strongest aspects of it were like the townsfolk found family, like.
Yeah, to where not necessarily everyone loved each other, and then even there was kind of like a con artist type guy within the town. But whenever there was an outside threat, all of a sudden it was like, oh no, we're gonna band together. Yeah. Like, you don't mess with our people.
Mm-hmm. And then you look at a show like Still 17.
Oh.
Just everything about it. Just.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Still 17, watch it.
Yeah.
It'll do nothing but make you feel good.
I love like when it's like the dynamics are really big in like fan groups too. So like that one like specifically, like you have like, you know, the high school kids, and then there's like the May, Jennifer, and like everybody's in a different spot, like either like in their life or they're like what's happening and per what's happening with the main theme of the show. But like everybody still kind of like respects each other and like comes together. So that's like a really nice like collaboration of things.
That's a really interesting like complexity to it when the characters are all experiencing completely different things and yet they're coming together. Whereas there are some other times in shows where it's like the circumstance itself that they're all experiencing together is the thing that brings them all together too. So you know, those types of shows.
Yeah.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but that's definitely a
I can.
thing.
Crash Landing on You. Because they're all bonding over the fact that they have to hide this South Korean woman who somehow made it into North Korea, despite the fact that if they get found out, they're all going to be put to death. And then it just gets a little wild after that.
Even something like Player, you know, where they come together for a job kind of thing, but like by the end it's like, you know, the guys are like, ew, this girl is annoying, but in the end they want to like kick people's butts if they touch her and stuff, you know. So
the J drama that I really like, the reason I can't find my love, they're like the girls become a very strong like group, and I guess this would also be like the Age of Youth girls, where like you have them coming together literally because they all needed a place to rent. So they all are like random people, and then they kind of like come together and then start to like bond and really like share their, you know, lives with the others and like make sure that the others are doing okay. I think maybe that like kind of borderlines the like people are put in a position that they kind of come together. Maybe this would work. It's I keep on wanting to say it's okay to not be okay, but it's okay. That's love. It's like it's got such a like strong like found family, and they almost like really center their group into like almost familial like titles in a way, and like pretty much the reason that they actually come together is because they all share mental health issues, and like they're all dealing with it, and they found that others aren't accepting of them, so they've all come together to live in this house together.
I always think of when I think of found family, the first one that comes into my mind is not even one of my favorite dramas, but Jealousy Incarnate. I love okay, love triangle, sure, whatever, but they all live in this apartment building, and they all go down and like eat breakfast together at this restaurant and they're not all related, or they don't even all like each other, but they still are all going to go down and have breakfast at the bar, like, and I love that part. I was like, when that drama was over, I was like, you know, you could take the 3 leads right out and just give me a second season that revolves around this apartment complex and this restaurant and these people. I would love that.
See, that's the thing that I really like in J-dramas a lot. They usually have like their favorite like sake place or like a place that they go to drink after work or like their favorite noodle place or whatever. And then it becomes like almost a sort of found family, like where, they have the same waiter or the same owner of the place and they're all like kind of like the same regulars who are coming in. So it's like this like nice found family that like really only centers in this one spot and then they kind of go away. I guess it's like almost like Cheers or something, where it's like you have a regular spot.
Yeah, that reminds me of how, like, as a society, so third place is, sorry, this is all in a book that I read a long time ago in college, but third place is like you have home, you have work, and then you have the third place of you have a community at, be it bowling or the bar or the community center or your club, church, whatever, to where that was where you kind of had your main community people that you would get along with and kind of have this second family with people. And society in general, it seems, especially with internet and stuff, we've kind of moved away from that more, especially now during the pandemic. But even that aside, like, for a lot of people, there's not really much of a third place anymore. So it's nice to see that in dramas whenever, like, because it does feel a very homey community found family thing that's like, a lot of us don't necessarily have that.
I watched a drama this year. It's a weekender, but it did have an incredible found family. It was called Never Twice. I think we talked about it. And basically what it was is that it all centers around this older woman who owns like a boarding house. So all the people who live in the boarding house, which is like a pregnant woman whose husband just died, like an ex golf athlete who's like had an accident, so he had to leave. Then there was like a couple, like where the woman was losing her memory and the husband had lost his job, and like and it's just all these random, like a woman who could never keep a job, and all of these people just sort of coming together to like really just have the sweetest family. Like when the pregnant woman like gives birth, and so they're all like they're all taking care of the baby together, and like if anyone ever like talks shit about her for being a single mom, they're all like, no, like fucking fight you, like like
Natalia is fighting her microphone.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
No, it was just funny. I was letting the listeners know what you were doing.
It's really good. So if you have time for a good old 50 episodes.
It's a shorter one though. It was only like 30 episodes. Or something, 36 or something. So it's not even 50. So you can do it. I have faith in you.
Now we're fact checking what it is.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm trying to figure out how many episodes it was.
I like that trope of like, it's kind of like the villager trope, but you see it a lot more in the Asian dramas. The one, the found family that's like the food court found family, like where grandma or auntie or whoever like has like a food stall in the food area, and like all the food people, like I've watched, like they kind of had that in Dating in the Kitchen this year, and like Miss Hammurabi kind of had that too. Like she was raised by her grandma, but like all the ajumas, all the from the food stall place were all her aunts. They were all her grandmas. They all looked after her, and like there's something about that like addition of food into the found family thing and the eating together and that.
Or it's like the ones where like all the people work in like a traditional market or like a market street or something, and they're all in each other's business, and it's like, so at first they'll all like be like they'll hate each other, like they'll it'll be like they hate each other, but then as soon as an outsider comes to mess up shit, like oh, no. We're all united against you. Like, we get to hate each other. You don't get to hate us.
Because they also have, like, you know, the regulars who always eat at the places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, to answer the question, Never Twice has 72 half-hour episodes. So...
Nah. 36? Yeah.
30, yeah. We do math good here. So 36 full-hour episodes.
I love how the thing is, we all stared at each other.
We're like hoping one other person would just say
like
it.
An awkward, like...
No, none of us are math inclined.
As I always joke when someone asks you to do math, I went to art school. What you want from
I can
here?
do it, but it's very specifically in, like, I can figure out, like, inches and feet and yardage and stuff, like, but once I go, like, outside of, like, upholstering a sofa, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, like, what?
No, all of my math knowledge is all based on, like, dimensional stuff for art. That's it.
And I also have this,
nothing
like,
else.
really great calculator at work. It's a carpenter's calculator, so, like, I can plug in any fraction that I want and get it and be perfect. I don't have to think about a thing.
You remember back in middle school when they were like, well, you won't always have a calculator on you, like, when you're grown up. Joke's on them.
Now we all have supercomputers in our back pocket, so...
Yeah, right? I can literally just Google it, too, so, like, what does it matter?
Like,
whatever.
There's also, even within, like, high school dramas, or school dramas, and I guess even college dramas for that matter, there's sometimes a found family that forms, you know, usually amongst the department or whatever, you know, the characters that sometimes they have to band together to do something, or...
Yeah. Or even, like, within the teachers, like, you know, teachers lounge and they're kind of fighting against the school board or something like that, you know. For me, with, like, found family, I think it's just, what I really like about it, and, like, besides the fact that, like, I'm big on the don't force people to be in toxic family relationships just because they're related. But, like, also it's just, like, everybody likes to forget that, like, not everyone has a family or a family ready. Like, some of us, like, legitimately have lost all their family, so they're, like, by themselves. And some just, like, per work circumstances live hours and hours away. And so it's like, what is the person supposed to do if they don't have any other option? Like, they don't have family that's close by or family that's living. Are they just supposed to just not have anything, like, like, and have, like, a support group like that is an actually kind of like a family? Just so nice to, like, foster those relationships where there's just, like, no strings attached besides people just wanting to connect with other people.
And I think in most Asian dramas that I've seen, that where the found family stands out to me, most of the people involved either are orphans or come from a toxic family, or they have, you know, abuse in their history or something. Like, there's some reason why, they need to build their own family because they just can't or don't or whatever with what they were given at birth. So it's nice to see. It's a nice addition to see that, like, to see that character who got kind of robbed of a good family life to have build their own that way.
Yeah.
When you choose your family yourself, you're really getting the best elements. You know what I mean? Even if you're thrown together by circumstance, you can always choose to walk away. But you don't, and that's what makes the found family just a chef's kiss. So delightful.
I will say that, you know, like how we were talking earlier, so some dramas, it will be like, you can kind of see a glimmer of a found family, and that's really all you ever see, you know, like, you see a few interactions, and that's really, and, you know, you enjoy those interactions, but then you have the dramas that it's very, like, Still 17 as an example, like, very central to, like, the plot, and it's obviously extremely intentional that that's where it was headed. So there's even that thing, because sometimes it is just, oh, like, that interaction, that kind of felt like that. But a lot of time, the ones that are really enjoyable are definitely the ones that, you know, it's a bit more than that.
So, you know, basically, if your family sucks, there's always a found family waiting for you out there to, like, just, you know, to find.
Your found family soulmates are out there waiting for you.
They're waiting for you. We believe in you. Go find them. Throw off the chains of toxic familial entanglements and be free. Trust me.
But like, find them online right now. Don't go find them in person.
Not in person. You know, like,
find them in your Among Us lobby.
Exactly. Like, listen, we found each other on Twitter. Like,
that's true. We are a found family.
Yeah.
We are a testament to it.
It's been 2 years and counting, so just putting that out there. That's longer than a lot of marriages last. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We actually have a lot of things that we've been working, you know, getting brewing in the little witch's cauldron of our nonsense. One of which was all of us guest starred. That's such a weird expression. Guest hosted. There we go.
You can say guest starred. It's totally fine.
Yeah, no, we're great. Like,
they treat us like stars when we're there.
That's true. They do. We guest starred on our sister podcast, K-Bay. I think I can call them our sister podcast at this point. We've been going back and forth. It's not official, but it's kind of official.
Well, like, you know. They're also kind of our, like, found family podcast.
Yeah. So we're like bros with them. They've been watching Legend of the Blue Sea, and we all came in for an episode to discuss various episodes of that show. And it was a fun time. So if you like chaos and K-dramas,
if you think this is chaos, you should go listen to K-Bay.
Yeah, you ain't heard nothing yet. You should go check out K-Bay because that's chaos. And so we will have a link to their podcast on our website, CertifiedNoonas.com. In addition, Jessie went out and did a little guest starring of her own on Ask Me About K-Pop. Is that episode just came out, didn't it?
Yeah, it just came out today of the day of the recording.
Yeah, it's the day of the recording, so last week as of the posting of this. So you should go check that out because Ask Us About K-Pop are super cool and very knowledgeable, and you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy them. They're great. Great gals. What else are we working on?
I know something, but we're not going to release it yet.
We're not releasing that yet. We're not releasing that yet.
Secret. I don't know. We could be working on something if you requested it.
We got a few things, you know. We got some.
Recipe book.
The recipe book is still going on. Please send us your recipes. We need your recipes so we can make a cookbook. They can be recipes of any type. They can be boozy. You know, we're a little boozy most of the time. They can be, you know, baked goods, meals, struggle meals. We'll take anything. They can be the worst recipe written down that's just like a pinch of this, like a eyeball this, cook until stop. Like, you know, send it to us. We want it. So send it to our Gmail at CertifiedNoonas@gmail.com. What else? Is that it? I think that's all.
We're working at being awesome.
Yeah, you know, we always are. We try our best.
And being prepared and
being good. We have some new designs in our merchandise shop, including some face masks. So if you want some face masks or t-shirts or mugs, you can find those all on our website as well. And all the proceeds help support this podcast. So if you would also like to support this podcast in other ways, you can go to ko-fi.com/CertifiedNoonas and become an official part of the Certified Found family. Hey-o! We can experience joy together. All of the people on Coffee who support us really keep this podcast going. They pay for our hosting and, all the equipment that we need. And it's wonderful. We put up some extra stuff so they get extra, outtakes from the episodes and little extra bonus things. And, we keep it fun over on Coffee. So if you want to come join the Coffee fam and support this podcast, this small, homegrown little podcast, you can go to ko-fi.com/CertifiedNoonas. And if you want to do some fun quizzes or read some fun blog posts or find out all the links to everything that we talk about, you can go to CertifiedNoonas.com, our official website that has all the episodes and more. And if you want some sick tunes to listen to, there are also links to our Spotify playlists on our website that you can go check out because we keep it pretty tight. And if you want to check out...
have some good taste in music.
We do.
How many to say?
Super good taste in music.
We do.
And variety. Those playlists have a lot of variety on them.
Yeah, there's a little something for everyone. You never know what you're going to find on there. We also have a My Drama list so you can keep up with what all of us are watching and our recommendations on that front. And if you want to connect with us on social media, we're most often on Instagram. If you love K-pop updates for new releases, the Instagram is always freshly updated. And we are also on Twitter. We're on other things too, but Instagram and Twitter, those are the real ones in order to reach us. So, where it's always @CertifiedNoonas across the board. Anyway, we hope that you have a fantastic Thanksgiving, even though you'll have to not be with your family. Go join your online family, and we can all commiserate together and, have a grand old time talking about the fun of Asian entertainment that we all love. Anyway, have a fantastic week. Stay safe. Wear a mask and wash your hands. All right. Bye.